And until next time. Oh, we got another fish. There we go. It is large, whatever it is. Whoa! There we go. There we got him. Gorgeous. Gorgeous fish. A gorgeous 23-inch eyeball. So here's the deal. For about 10 days in the fall here on Lake Sakakawea, they do some pumping between Lake Audubon and Lake Sakakawea. The water being pumped into Lake Sakakawea obviously creates some current. Fish love current. It's a great fish attractor, fish concentrator, and it can be a really great bite if you can get on top of it. But the key is to know about it before anyone else does and to get there first. We were close anyway. We're number 3. I've never actually been on this bite before. Never tried it. It can get pretty crazy, especially on a weekend once people know the fish are in here, the flow's moving. So we're gonna see what happens. I'm gonna put you in your post and try to catch some fish. I'm not exactly sure what the key is gonna be to fishing this. I don't know if you're gonna wanna be in the current, just off the side of the flow. There's also some structure around the area because obviously the apparatus used to do the pumping, or maybe just the flow itself creates a trench and then you got some humps around it. So I drove around here a little bit and I saw some fish kind of up shallow and like the tops or edges of one of the humps. I don't know what kind of fish they are. It's going to bring a lot of everything in here. There's going to be walleyes hopefully, but there could be salmon in here. There could be pike, bass, God knows what. And obviously I'm in pretty heavy current on this spot because my jig is going way down here. So heavier jig like you're fishing a river. I see one of the boats is right on the edge of the flow and another boat is like right in front of the culvert itself, exactly where the water's coming out. So I would guess I want to be right on the edge of the current. I don't think the fish want to sit in the middle of it. I don't know if they're going to be in 10 feet on top of these structures, if they're going to be in 30 feet off the edge. I don't know the answer yet. That's what we got to figure out. We got a fish. Looks like a smallmouth. So the smallmouth are up in the heavy current. That's interesting. Will the walleyes also be here? Oh, buddy. You are amped up in this current, aren't you? Yeah, you are. Fish number 1 in the flowage. And the other cool thing is, you know, as I've said in some of my previous videos, we've been fishing such deep water. Well, if you can find current like this, you don't have to fish deep water. The fish will come up in the current because there's plenty of oxygen and plenty of food. So, and that was obviously kind of a weird bite to feel because I got a big bow in my line and the current's sweeping it sideways. All of a sudden you just saw the line jump and start to move the other direction. So you got to reel down to it a little bit to get your line tight first, then set the hook. And when I set the hook, it didn't feel like there was much there. It felt like a pretty tiny fish until I got my line tight on it and felt him running the current. And then I could tell it was a nice smallmouth. Otherwise, it kind of felt like a little perch or a crappie or something. So I'm just kind of pitching it out ahead like that, letting the current sweep it down and bouncing it around a little bit and waiting for a bite. And oddly enough, we also got some crosswind blowing this way, so it can make things a little awkward when you got crosswind going against the current, or across the current. Makes your boat sit in funny positions and stuff, but you can even see the flow too. Like if you look at that screenshot on my down imaging, you can see all the noise down there. So that was a pretty clean screen until I got into the flow, and then I started to see a lot of garbage like that. So I think something in my brain expected this to be super easy. Like you just roll in here, there'd be a million fish, they'd be ready to bite, and you just catch one every cast. Maybe that is the case when it's really going good, I don't know, but that felt like another bass bite, but he didn't have it, and he was probably a smaller one, so. There we got a mark under the boat on 839. In fact, I think one of the boats is Jeff. Just fished with him yesterday. He says it's pretty good over there. He's right in front of the culvert. Let's go join him. What's the trick to fishing this stuff? Big one? There it is. First flow walleye. And the flow is like really amping up. All of a sudden I'm like right in the middle of it. Interesting. And as soon as that happened, that's when I got the bite. But I've been casting into the flow and hadn't gotten a walleye yet, so I don't know what that answer is, but we got one. I've seen 3 other walleyes caught so far. One was big, the other 2 were bigger than that, but not much. And yeah, I don't know exactly where the sweet spot is here, or if you just kind of like wait for fish to kind of move through and decide to bite, but I've just been kind of waiting and watching so far. Man, we are like right in it. That's crazy. It must amp it up once in a while. It's like fishing a river, but you're not. There's a fish. Another little walleye. That's 2. Must be in the sweet spot now. Just kind of pitched like right on the edge of the current, just kind of left it in there and danced it around, and eventually, donk. I get a little confused by the bites sometimes so far. Like I don't really know if they got it, and I actually like fed him line that time and then reeled down to him, which you got to reel down a lot because you got all that current to pick up. So I was like, oh, it feels like they're not on there anymore, but he still was. He was there, obviously. Just took a long time to get tight on him. He probably gobbled it right away, and I probably could have set it immediately. I don't know. It's a weird thing to feel. It's different even to me than fishing the river, and like I feel like I'm a lot more confident setting hooks on the river than this stuff. This is even more bizarre than I'm used to. It's kind of fun trying to figure this out. I'm not really sure what I've figured out though. I can't put any of the pieces together to know why it worked yet. He missed one. But it does seem to go in waves a little bit where you don't see much activity, and then you see 3 or 4 fish caught, and then you don't see much, and then you see 3 or 4 more. I don't know. No, the other boat's got one again. That's a bigger walleye. That looks like a 24-incher. Cool. I'm gonna dead stick the old minnow and try the jig and wrap. Change it up a little bit. Never worked at jig and wrap and current before. That's kind of funny. At least I know it's on bottom. You got something on there? You seen it yet? Big catfish? There's a better fish. Look at that guy. Nice eater wally. I got that guy just working it under the boat, so like I pitched it just ahead and just kind of like slowly bounced it back. And yeah. Ooh, got a bunch of them underneath now. I should get back down. I've seen some boats move around a lot. I've seen some boats just sit still in place. I think, I don't know. If you know what you're looking for, I suppose you could chase some things, but for me, the best has just been kind of like find a little pocket just on the outside of the current and just kind of working it and letting fish come through. Oh, I just watched another guy next to me hook one up too. There might be a little window going on here. Oh, that's a big fish he's got there. Either a really big walleye or something else. Net's in the water. What do you got, Brian? Looks like a big walleye. Nice. 24.5. Good wally. Oh, I just pulled it right away from one. I've been seeing him under the boat more frequently. That's kind of cool. Boat's in 16 feet right now. That's a good fish. Well, I hope that's a walleye. That's a monster. Ooh. What's going on here? Walleye or catfish? It is large, whatever it is. Oh, it is a big walleye, I think. It looked like a big walleye at first glance. Let's hope my eyeballs are right. Yeah, it's a wally. That's pretty. Don't get off. Don't get off. Don't get off. Stay hooked. Stay hooked. Whoa! Well, I'd say this paid off. There we go. Nice, chubby Walter. What do we got for length here? A gorgeous 23-inch eyeball fishing the flow. Cool. It's not hot and heavy, but there's fish here, and every once in a while they bite, and you just kind of keep pitching, jigging on the edge of the flow, I guess. Wait for them to cruise through. I'd like to do that about 50 more times. By the way, if you haven't caught the sarcasm yet, this is not really a secret. At some point, there'll be a ton of people fishing here. But I did get kind of lucky to hit it on the first day, and there's only 4 boats here. I would imagine tomorrow, especially this weekend, there'll be a lot more. The other interesting thing too is you got like the flows coming out from the bridge going this way, and I'm spot locked perpendicular to it, but there's like an undertow that sucks it towards that direction too. So wherever you cast your line, it naturally like sucks into the current flow, which I guess is kind of handy that you just kind of sit here spot locked, pitching down to it, and you can either work it back into the current or you can throw it right in there and just kind of dance it in the current. But everything's sucking towards the stream of flow, even though the flow is going that way, it's sucking this way. So it's basically just like you're pitching downstream in the river. That's why like when I cast out to the side, it just kind of slowly sweeps around. That's how I've had the best luck. Of just, you know, I've got a few like kind of bouncing along the side of the boat, but just sweeping it back towards the current flow, the current stream, whatever you want to call it. Kind of been the best deal. Oh, Jeff got another good one. It does seem like I've caught some small fish, but lately the fish that I've seen caught have all been like 20 inches plus. The nice fish seem to like to come in here. That's always fun. That feels like a stout fish. Taking me out sideways. What's going on here? What are we doing? If I can net him. There, we got him. Gorgeous. Gorgeous fish. Got a little fin deformity though. That's kind of interesting. Also, I should mention, I don't know if you watched that live stream with Crappie T, but Crappie's gonna be here in October. We got our mano a mano challenge, and then eventually Wyatt Hands is gonna go fishing with me. Just don't know if it's on Crappie's dime or mine, depending on who ends up winning, but just wanted to prime the pump there. Crappie Tea Challenge coming up in October. Regardless of how the fishing is, it's gonna be a show. Crappie Tea likes to chitty chatty. There's gonna be a little bit of banter, I would say. I stole one of your fish, Brian. He's only a 21 incher. After all the days I've fished on Lake Sakakawea, there's still new things to try and new things to learn. This has been an interesting experience for sure. And it's only like a 10, 12 day window. They also do the opposite in the spring. So if you're fishing on the other side of the highway, you got an opportunity in the spring to fish that side when it's coming up over there too. So interesting stuff. If you did like this video, I'd appreciate you hitting the button as usual. Maybe subscribe to the channel. Maybe consider supporting the channel on Patreon. And until next time. Oh, we got another fish. I don't know if it's quite as big as the last one, but oh, it's good. It's a good one. It isn't as big, but it's a nice fish. There we go. Threaded right through his mouth, I think. Nope, there it is. Hang on, baby. Later, fisher people.